let's go right into it again. I am thanking again my friend Gabe Rodriguez. He is a writer, director, producer, just basically a Renaissance man with so many talents. And I want to kind of dive right in. I want to give us all an opportunity to really get to know my friend Gabe. And what better way than to kind of give him a nice, formal-ish interview. I mean, I do like to keep this like pretty casual, but
Mhm.
let me start off with all right, Fallen Hero Productions. Just going to go right into it. A filmmaking movement for the people. What brought this on, and what is the future?
So actually kind of a crazy story with that. So when I was in film school and making student films, like my production company name was, it was an ex-girlfriend's screen name, Honeydew 546 Productions, which was kind of cute, but it also confused people. They were like, okay, Honeydew Production sounds nice. Why are the numbers there? So that was my thing for a while. And then after a while, I realized, I need a new moniker because that's confusing people, and it's an ex-girlfriend, so it's kind of an unhealthy thing. So I brainstormed a new name, and I just like the idea of fallen hero, of a mythological figure who was rising back up and creating art, or shaping the world. So I'm a fallen hero.
Hmm.
And the idea of the fallen hero movement, of the idea that indie filmmaking is for everybody, that anybody can be an artist, that anybody is welcome to come and share their work. Certainly with filmmaking, there is this idea that a film is only valuable if it is made by Hollywood, or it's only successful based on how it does at the box office, but that's not really fair because not every film is distributed the same way or marketed the same way. So yeah, I guess the idea was like fallen hero. This is the future of filmmaking. The future is streaming. The future is indie. The future is just sharing your stuff in this new format.
Absolutely. And with that type of movement, because that truly is what it is that putting it in the hands of people who just want to send a message out there, to be able to say everybody has the right to create and there are no limitations, and we are no longer at an age like that old, the old head theory of, is like, what, you only have to have this, this is the only right way. This is really breaking out of the box, and I love that. That is probably the most important thing, and that's what I try to nurture is like, we all have the ability to do things, and there should not be any stops. There should not be anybody to tell you this
Yeah.
is wrong. There's no construct out there. There's just, if you have that will, you have a venue, and especially where you have something like this available, that's got to be very important too. So I appreciate that as well.
Thank you. Yeah, and obviously the internet has changed all that too. Like now, anybody can create a website. Anybody can share stuff. Uh, you are your own studio now.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So when starting a project, what's the first spark you get?
Ooh, like every project, like there've been different moments of inception. Like the script I'm working on now, where I had the idea literally since high school, and it's just been like finally took it off the shelf and dusted it off and went back to it. Whereas there's other things that uh, no, the idea just came while I was crossing the street one day, and I went, oh, that's a good story, and I start writing it. Um, so like, what inspires you to start writing a story? That could be so many different things, and not
Mhm.
every story is good, and not every story ends up in the finished form. But then once you've written the script, like making it into a film or a play or what have you, that uh, that then comes down to other factors, usually external, like where you are, what is available to you as an artist. So like, I guess like if I have to give one all-encompassing answer, like what is the first step? I would say the first step is a good idea and good people to work with to be a good team.
Nice. And even with those people too, they usually do, give a certain element of inspiration as well, because if we're all in ourselves, we're constantly, impressioned by our environment, by the people that we're around, and that only makes things a lot more solid as you keep going with it, right?
Yeah, that's another thing. Like writing is obviously a very solitary activity, and sometimes you do get stuck in your own head. So like in the last year or so, I've really started working with beta readers and critique partners, and I think
Hmm.
that has helped me a lot. And sometimes just working with actors, like there's a character I'm not quite sure what this character is about, and sometimes just doing a casting, talking to an actor, and I'm impressed with an audition, and I'll meet the actor and I'll say, okay, you tell me what is the why of this character. And yeah, so that collaboration helps me as a writer.
That's actually a very interesting point. I never thought of that. It's just like, and that's the adoption of ideas is like seen on other person's interpretation and taken from. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Um, so as a writer, can you tell us all? I mean, you already shared a little bit of that, but like, what is your formula? Like, how do you reach the quality that's right for you?
Oof. Well, that's tough because obviously all art is subjective. So I would say it's more you have the idea and you work on it and work on it. And I feel like um, usually when you're ready to start writing a script. I think if it's not quite solid yet, you're gonna burn out right away, and you know that you will. Um, but when you know it's good, you jump into it, and then your first draft is never going to be good.
Hmm.
That's just you accept that. But then it's good to then go through the first draft, and anything that you yourself know is not working, cut that out. It's like yeah, like if you can't even convince yourself, you're not going to convince other people.
Hmm.
Um, and then it's a matter of sharing it with the right people, people who will critique, but also switch it up because you don't always want to use the same partners because then it stops feeling fresh.
Right.
You want it to always, the ideas come from discussions, but they all come from you.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, hopefully, like after a while you are happy with it. Sometimes you're not happy with it, but then it helps to just spend some time away from the script for a bit, and then when you see it with a fresh pair of eyes, you go, oh, now I see what the issue was. Or everyone was telling me this when they read it, and I didn't understand why they said that, but now 6 months later, okay, now I get it. So that helps.
That is awesome. Yeah, that is definitely food for thought on that. And stepping away, I can agree with that on so many contexts, from short form to long form writing. And I'll even tell you that long form writing is not my bag. It's like I get lost. It's basically I have ADD as far as like just kind of going through, and it's like, oh man, I have to go back to this to something I just took so much time to put out. But then also revisiting it, it really does give a different perspective too. And yeah, I can agree with that wholeheartedly, which is I guess probably why I feel a lot more comfortable in short form. But the long form definitely does challenge a lot too. So I mean, I always give kudos to people that can do that and do it with such style and such such a great way and form that's comprehensible to a lot of people. Because I can tell you, I lose my voice so easily in something long form too. So I mean, it's always an amazing quality to see other people being able to do that.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean, obviously it's helpful to outline in advance or maybe write like a little bit of a treatment or synopsis. But then sometimes, like I'll start that, and halfway through, I'm like, oh, I'm writing so much. I wish I was just writing the thing itself, and then I just jump into writing the thing itself.
there you go. And then inspiration just keeps popping up one way or another, and that's great. Um, and speaking of inspirations, and this one kind of I think really does go towards certain things that I do know about you, but David Lynch or Martin Scorsese?
David Lynch. But I thought it was interesting when I saw that question that you had those two picks because they're both directors who I like them not only as artists but also as people. I like hearing them speak, and they're both very active in the arts. So it was an interesting choice, those two. But I love Lynch's work, and he is very much an artist.
Nice. Yeah. And I and just to kind of allude a little bit to like how we know each other is I was actually through a play that we did that, Gabe wrote, and it was an amazing piece too. But I already understanding like your love of David Lynch too. I figured you were going to go with that, but then again, also understanding like Martin Scorsese is also a very very good source out there too that a lot of people love, and I'm sure you enjoy just as much too. But there's something about David Lynch. There's just something about him.
Well, also just like Twin Peaks is my favorite franchise ever.
Mhm.
And so as the co-creator of that, that's always going to be something I'm partial to. And actually just recently shared the Twin Peaks pilot with my girlfriend. So that's a sign that's going places.
There we go.
As done.
So I'm gonna leave it to like the last two elements to this interview, which again, I would like you to be able to share what projects you have coming up, and with that also, pretty much key in any type of social media links and any type of informational sources that our viewers can go seek to learn more about your projects, and everything else that you're doing in. And then with that also, please, give the viewers a message about what you would like to give all of them in the channel, any positive messages, just words of advice, anything that you want to give them, just all together in that one nice little bit onto this interview.
Oh wow, that's a very long question, and it's going to have a very long answer. Um, so I have a feature film called The Sisters Cardos, which is a loose retelling of Little Women, but set in the modern era of COVID-19. And so we just finished filming from about mid-September to mid-October. We're filming this like the day after Thanksgiving.
Mm.
So that's currently being edited, and it's still very, very rough, only like about a quarter of the way assembled. But very excited about that project, and just shooting a feature film in New York with COVID going on, what was an interesting experience. So if you want to keep up with that on Instagram, it's Fallen Hero Productions. There's tons of stills from that film. On Facebook, it used to be if you went to Facebook, you looked up GabeRodriguez, you'd get a bunch of people with my name, but I think I've been going up in the algorithm, so that's a good sign. But you can also just, it might be easier if you go to Facebook and you look at some of my short films, Havana and Bushwick or Goddess of Time. And if you like those, then I'll see it and I'll reach out to you.
All right, cool.
And so like, as far as just a message to anyone out there, to everyone out there, yeah, like you have to persevere, and even with COVID going on, you can't let that stop you. So, with this particular film, the script just kind of came together, and it came to be September, and I just thought, like, can I film this? And there have been so many other scripts where it was written and I started looking into filming and pre-production, and it just didn't happen because the timing wasn't right. And I just went, no, not this time. We're going to film it. So, I mean, if I can do that, you can do that. So to anyone out there, I would say, like, it's a cliche, but it's true. Like, if you wait for the right time, it will never come. If you wait till you're ready to do something, you will never be ready. You kind of have to jump in, and of course, it's good to have a plan. It's good to think things out. But if you think things out too much, you probably won't do them.
I could not agree with that any more than that. I mean, waiting too much is a missed opportunity waiting to happen, so to say. But yeah, no, that was great. And again, for everybody, I'm going to put like a lot of the links that Gabe has mentioned down below. Again, I chimed over, so with the power of editing, I'll put whatever I can during the interview too. But again, I mean, thank you so much, Gabe. It was an absolute pleasure to have you with us. Again, Gabe Rodriguez, writer, director, producer, a wonderful person. I highly recommend checking out his stuff. And be very pleased. I mean, if you see just from the context of his writing in this, imagine what long form stuff and the projects he has in store for you to enjoy too. Again, thank you all for joining me. Feel free to go check out a lot of the other channel more context that this channel has to offer. It's not just words of exchange, but I have two other segments which by the point that this comes out we'll have for you to be able to review. I appreciate you all. Definitely, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. We are getting through all this together. Remain creative in all aspects of writing. I have no proper send off message, so it seems like I'm vamping right now, but still, thank you all for joining me. And hopefully, until the next time, just keep writing and keep being creative. Thank you all, and have a good one.
Bye bye.